Hello, my name is Brenda Lara, and this is my social justice classroom project. My topic was on kindness, empathy, and inclusivity, learning to choose kind. Why it matters. Kindness and empathy are at the heart of social justice. They help dismantle bullying, exclusion, and judgment. Wonder by R.J. Placio teaches us that even small acts of compassion can make a huge difference. When students learn to choose kind, they help create a world where everyone belongs and feels valued, regardless of how they look, speak, or learn. And the book I selected was Wonder by R.J. Palacio. A quick summary if you guys haven't read it or haven't watched the movie. It's about August. Augie Pullman is a boy born with a facial difference who enters a mainstream school for the first time in fifth grade. As he navigates bullying, friendship, and acceptance, his story inspires others to reflect on how they treat people who are different. The book centers around the theme of empathy and ends with a powerful message. When given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. And then some of the sources connected to the book. The first primary source I found was the NPR interview by RJ Palacio on Wonder. So this is the NPR interview with Wonder author R.J. Palacio explores a real life encounter that inspired the creation of the book. Palacio shares a moment when she and her children encountered a child with a facial difference while in a store, which led to a conversation about the way society often treats those who are visibly different. Palacio reflects on how this experience stayed with her, promoting her to write a story about a young boy who looks different and experiences bullying. Through this interview, Palacio discusses the core themes of wonder, empathy, acceptance, and the power of kindness. The interview sheds light on how writing the book was a response to wanting to foster a more compassionate world for children. And the questions I had were, what personal experiences inspired RJ Palacio to write Wonder? How does Palacio's encounter with a child who looked different connect to real world experiences children might have in school? And if more schools use Wonder as a tool to teach empathy, how might school culture shift over time? And then the second source, which is a secondary source, is Empathy and the Unselfish Revolution. In her presentation on related writings, Dr. Michelle Borba, an educational psychologist, emphasizes the critical importance of empathy in children's development. She highlights alarming trends, noting that teens today are 40% less empathetic than they were a generation ago, with narcissism increasing by 58%. This decline in empathy contributes to various social issues, including bullying, cheating, and increased rates of depression among youth. Dr. Borba argues that empathy is essential not only for moral and emotional development, but also for academic success, resilience, abilities, and future job performance. She advocates for the unselfish revolution, a movement aimed at shifting the focus from self-centeredness to a more empathetic, community-oriented mindset. Drawing from over 30 years of research, Dr. Borba offers practical strategies for parents and educators to cultivate empathy in children, ensuring they grow into compassionate and successful individuals. The questions that I got from that article was, the first question is, what are some negative consequences of declining empathy in children? Why do you think empathy is linked to success in areas like leadership and job performance? How could you use strategies from the unself revolution to help students become more empathetic? And then the third source is a culture of kindness in early childhood classrooms. In their article, Columbine and Zuccaro emphasizes the importance of intentionally teaching kindness in early childhood classrooms to foster a positive and inclusive learning environment. They argue that when educators prioritize kindness, they not only enhance classroom culture, but also equip children with behaviors that have lifelong value. The authors outlined 5 practical strategies for promoting kindness among young learners: build on children knowledge, make it public, give children practice, and use children literature and set up your environment. The questions from that article are, what are 2 strategies the author recommend to promote kindness in early childhood classrooms? How can celebrating acts of kindness publicly influence the classroom environment? How could you adapt the kindness tree idea or another activity mentioned to work in an upper grade classroom or even a college setting? The 5 sources I found are, the first one is a little song. This catchy and educational song teaches children about the importance of being kind. It's an excellent addition to classroom activities focused on social emotional learning and can be used to reinforce positive behaviors. Teachers can use it as a class anthem, brain break, or a part of the morning meetings to create a positive and welcoming environment for the rest of the day. The second one that I think really helps is coming from a child's perspective, which is TED Talk, Emma Liu emphasizes the transformative power of empathy and inclusion in building meaningful friendships. Liu highlights how understanding and supporting classmates with special needs can combat loneliness and foster a sense of belonging. This resource is valuable for us aiming to cultivate empathy and inclusivity in the classroom, providing a real world example of how kindness can bridge differences and create supportive communities. The third source is a read aloud, so it's a book. This video offers a gentle narrative that illustrates how simple acts of kindness can foster empathy and create an inclusive environment. We can use this resource to initiate discussions on the impact of kind actions and to encourage students to practice empathy in their daily interactions. The fourth source is a article or a blog. It provides practical strategies for creating classrooms that embrace diversity and support all students. These strategies aim to foster an environment where every student feels valued and included, promoting empathy and understanding among peers. And the fifth source is also another article. This article outlines the strategies for fostering kindness and inclusivity within educational settings. It emphasizes creating a welcoming environment where students feel respected and valued, promoting empathy and acceptance over prejudice and isolation. The research provides practical activities such as kindness jars, kindness pledges, and kindness quotes to engage students in cultivating a compassionate classroom culture. And then the lesson plans that I found that I think can help cultivate kindness, empathy, and inclusivity in the classroom is the first one is from Lenny Learning. Um, the main objective of this one is to help students identify and understand empathy through interactive discussion, storytelling, and real world connections. This lesson uses role playing and reflective conversations to help students explore how others feel in different situations. Students learn to recognize emotions and practice showing kindness and compassion to others, building an inclusive and supportive community. And then the lesson plans look something like this, just for a quick overview, about 20 minutes, first to fifth graders. It's a video story. And then the second lesson is paper chain kindness, which I feel like is done a lot nowadays. I've seen it done in my internship classes, at least in fourth grade and in third grade. So the main objective is to encourage students to recognize, record, and reflect on kind actions by creating a visual representation of kindness within their classroom community. In this hands-on activity, students will write down acts of kindness they witness or perform on strips of paper and link them together to form a kindness chain. Over time, the chain grows, serving as a powerful visual reminder of the positive impact kindness has on the classroom environment and reinforcing inclusive, empathetic behaviors, which, sorry, I have it right here, but I can't grab it. There you go. And then here it just gives you the overview, what you need, how to do it. I think it's very helpful for all ages. And then the third lesson plan I have is from Brain Pop. The main objective is to help students understand the concept of empathy and identify ways to show empathy in various situations. This lesson utilizes Brain Pop Junior research to introduce the concept of empathy. Students watch a video on empathy and then create a concept map to identify ways they can demonstrate empathy when someone is feeling bad or going through a hard time. I think this one, I was very interested when I found this one just because I think Brain Pop was used a lot when I was in elementary. So I think it's nice to bring it back and have students actually watch something that they might be entertained by. And then my narrative, which is on a separate Google Doc. For my social justice classroom project, I chose this topic of kindness, empathy, and inclusivity. I chose this topic because I believe these three values are so important, not just in the classroom, but in life. I've seen how kindness can make a huge difference for someone, even in the smallest ways. And I've also seen how being left out or being judged can really hurt people. I want my future students to understand how important it is to treat everyone with respect, to put themselves in other people's shoes, and to create a classroom where no one feels alone or unimportant. This topic connects directly to social justice because it teaches students to stand up for others and make space for people to feel safe and accepted. Social justice is about fairness and making sure everyone has the same chance to learn, grow, and belong, no matter where they come from or what makes them different. By teaching kindness and empathy, I hope to help students develop the mindset and the heart to be more understanding and inclusive, both in and outside of the classroom. While working on the project, I learned even more about the impact kindness and empathy have on school communities. Classrooms that focus on social emotional learning and kindness tend to have less bullying, stronger friendships, and students who feel more connected to school. When students don't feel included or accepted, it can hurt not only their feelings, but also their ability to focus, learn, and participate. I really believe that teaching kindness is one of the best ways to build a healthy, welcoming classroom environment. The topic is so important to teach because the world is full of differences, and students are going to meet people from all kinds of backgrounds and experiences as they grow up. Teaching them early on how to be kind, open minded, and inclusive helps shape who they become. I want my students to see the value in every person and to understand that being different is something to celebrate, not judge. If I were to teaching this in my own future classroom, I would start with the conversations and stories that allow students to really explore what kindness and empathy look like. One way I would do this is by reading the book Wonder by R.J. Placio because it does such a great job of showing how kindness and inclusion can change someone's life. I was also bring in activities like kindness challenges, group discussion, and role play situations so students can practice these ideas and learn how to respond in real life situations. I would make kindness a normal and expected part of our classroom culture. Something I still wonder about is how to support students who have a hard time showing empathy or kindness, especially if they grow up in environments where they haven't experienced much of it themselves. I also wonder how to help students feel confident enough to stand up for others, especially when they might feel uncomfortable or scared to do so. These are things I want to keep learning about as I gain more experience in the classroom. My biggest takeaway from this topic and the whole course is that teaching is about so much more than lesson and tests. It's about helping students grow into kind and thoughtful people who care about others. I learned that creating a classroom where everyone feels seen, safe, and valued can make a huge difference in how students learn and interact. I'm excited to carry these lessons with me as I keep working toward becoming the teacher I want to be. And then that's where my social project